All right.
All right.
So we are here with the Dragon Brothers, Greg and
Bryan.
Bryan. There we go. And we are going to be sampling some of the wines that they have tonight. Not every flavor because we're not insane, but we will be sampling a majority of them. Would you say?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the first one we're going to try?
Starting off with the bestseller, Elder Dragon.
And why is it the bestseller?
People like elderberries.
People like elderberries. Elderberries seem to be very popular this year.
And people think that elderberries have magical properties, which, of course, they
do. Right.
Amplified by the whole dragon nature of the mead and the magical properties of honey.
Right.
So it's just a win-win-win sort of situation.
All right, now let's clarify, where do you get your honey? Your honey
So
comes...
from Indian River County.
You get it from Indian River County,
Yes.
so it's a locally sourced.
It's a locally sourced. The fruit we get from an organic provider, well, different organic providers. The elderberry and the hibiscus comes from T&Chi in Vero Beach, so also pretty local.
That's also organic. That's Indian River County.
And then I'm sure that they get it from someplace else, but
well, you never know.
The honey we get as local as possible.
Okay, so this is the elderberry. It smells like mead.
And magically, it tastes like mead.
All right, so which one of you is going to be the one to explain
Go for
mead?
So, mead is essentially honey wine. All alcohol is made out of some form of sugar. The yeast eats the sugar in a liquid environment, and you get alcohol and carbon dioxide. With mead, the sugar comes from honey. With wine, it comes from grapes. With cider, it comes from apples. And with beer, you have to do a couple things to the grains before.
I thought I had it turned off.
It's all right.
And with beer, you have to do a couple things to the grains before they're convertible into sugars.
Okay.
But again, it is honey wine. It's one of the oldest forms of alcohol there is, and it's magically delicious.
Does Jesus drink like?
So, again, all mead, basically honey wine. But like wines, they can be dry, they can be sweet, they can be semi-sweet. Meads also, you can add fruit, you can add herbs, you can add all sorts of things to the mead to change the flavor. Our meads are relatively dry.
Okay.
And they're honey forward with, like, the fruit is sort of a subtle aftertaste. So the elderberry here doesn't come through, like, super strong. It just sort of comes in as a complementary taste to finish off the drink.
All right.
So that is round one.
Yeah, you can pour them a little smaller there.
Wait till round seven. Round seven.
We don't even care anymore what it is.
So this one's actually, I think, the number 2 seller right now.
What is this, hibiscus?
Blackberry.
It's blackberry.
Blackberry, really?
Again, you don't really have to explain what blackberry is, and people love blackberries.
That is true.
Whereas when you get to lingonberry, nobody knows what lingonberries are.
That is not the number 1 seller.
I kept thinking it was Lincolnberry.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know what lingonberries are because our great-grandparents were Swedish, and so, like, that's part of the food that we had when we were kids.
Okay, so that's like origin-based.
Yeah, it's basically a Swedish cranberry.
Okay.
And I love them.
Right.
And lingonberry is one of my favorites, but it's not like a berry that people know.
Right.
And so that's not our number 1 seller. Blackberries and elderberries, people are like, I know what those are, and I like them. And so they like the mead, too.
Yes.
So
It sounds
I have never
ancient.
eaten a regular gooseberry or purchased a regular gooseberry before this.
the thing with, like, all sort of craft beer and stuff is that you kind of got to balance, craft beer, craft cider, craft mead. You have to balance, like, familiarity with novelty.
Right.
It's like there are some people that, like, once they discover a drink, it's like, I'm going to have the elderberry every single time because I like that one. And there are other people who come in and they're like, what's the new drink that you have?
Right. What's
the thing that I haven't tried before? And so, we do both.
All right, so this is the blackberry.
Yep.
Cheers.
COVID cheers.
COVID cheers.
That's my
This
mouth.
one really makes you want more. I'm a fan of that one.
Yeah, I mean, mead as a drink is ancient. I mean, it kind of died out as sugar became more available, honey became more expensive, and as wine. But it's kind of making a comeback with sort of on the tail ends of the craft beer, craft cider, craft mead is another thing. And our recipes, I mean, they're not like super traditional, but they're all things that would have been. I mean, like you take the honey and you throw in some fruit for some extra sugar and flavor. You take that and you throw in some herbs or spices or whatever. Mm-hmm. The Golden Fire Dragon is probably like the least traditional.
Yeah.
But
it's a definite interest though.
Also a big seller.
It's the dragon, the fire, like they go well together.